Hello there. So this topic is immunity, and the first little part we're going to look at types of diseases. So the first thing we're looking at is communicable diseases. Now, these are diseases that can be passed from one organism to another. So it could be from human to human, it could be from cat to cat, or in some cases it could even be from something like, oh, I don't know, a bat to a person. Now, most are caused by microorganisms, so bacteria, viruses, and fungus. Those are known as pathogens. Now, we're going to talk about that because that confuses people. Non-communicable diseases cannot be passed from one person to another. For example, Down syndrome, haemophilia, things like that. Those are genetic diseases. So they are described as non-communicable. Now, pathogens and microbes, people get confused with this. So microbes or microorganisms are microscopic living things. So you could have bacteria and fungi, which are microbes. Pathogens, on the other hand, is a special group of microbes which cause diseases. Now, it's important to realise that not all microbes cause disease. Therefore, not all microbes are pathogens. If you look at this, for example, a lot of yogurts claim to have active bacteria in them, which can have some sort of benefit to your immune system or your digestive system. So, it's not correct to say that all microbes are pathogens. Pathogens are only microbes which cause diseases. And as I say, there's three main types: bacteria, viruses, and fungi. Now, because we're talking about disease, it's also important to understand what's meant by health. So health is known as being free from disease. It's obviously important to us and our families. It's important to society because unhealthy people can't work and need care. And billions of pounds are spent by the NHS each year on treating and looking after ill people. So there is actually an economic cost if too many people in a population are sick. And that's basically because less people can go to work and they will need medication, which also costs money. So the NHS will have to spend more money on treating those patients. Now, this just gives you a quick example of three pathogens, so the bacteria, viruses, and fungi. The examples of the disease that each one causes is here. So bacteria can cause tuberculosis, salmonella, and chlamydia. Viruses cause colds and flu, AIDS, measles, and HPV. And fungi then, some main examples of that are athlete's foot, thrush, and potato blight. Now, there's this ginormous table here, which you need to know, and it shows some examples of bacteria, viruses, and fungal infections or diseases. Now, I recommend that you actually just sit down and learn some of these. It might take you a little while, but it's really important that you actually do learn these. Now, just to show you here, this is an example of droplet infection. So it's basically when somebody sneezes and it releases lots of bits of vapor, which might be infected with a particular virus. And it basically means that when people sneeze and don't cover their mouths or their noses, all the little droplets go out in the air, people can breathe them, and that's how colds and flus and things like that spread. And that's the end of that part. So the main things you're taking away is what a communicable disease is, the difference between microbes and pathogens, what health means and what the cost to society are, and also the different types of pathogens and what diseases they cause. And finally, this big large table with examples of each disease, how it's spread and how you prevent it. Now, what you'll notice here as well, just one last wee thing, is the bacteria. They're the only one which antibiotics can be used to treat, and that's because antibiotics are special chemicals which kill bacteria. If somebody has a cold, it's spread by a virus, so giving them antibiotics will not help, and that's going to be really important later on. So antibiotics can only be used to treat bacteria. And that's the end of this first video. Thank you, goodbye.